Welcome, everybody, to day 2 of the 2022 League of Legends College Championship presented by State Farm. I am your host, Ravishing, the most ravishing man on the internet, guiding you through the collegiate action. Today is going to be my absolutely gorgeous analyst desk, Colin, Rebel Fox, and some Max. How are we feeling, amigos? Colin first.
Doing great, man. Yesterday's games were good. Hopefully today's can match up.
There's nothing better than some good collegiate League of Legends. I said that all season. Yesterday proved me right as usual, and so now we get to wrap up our quarterfinals here with some even better matchups, I think, today.
It's always a good time when you got some Michigan gamers on the stream. Usually it's just me. Today, it's the whole team riding. I can't wait.
Before we get into, just dig too deep into your bias, far too early in the show, Smax. Why don't we take a look at what we saw yesterday? Because we saw UC Esports actually beat out Western University, and after that, Maryville University knocked out our reigning collegiate champions, the Winthrop Eagles.
Definitely. Obviously, this leads into them playing in the semifinals, which is a matchup we've all been waiting for this entire year. These have been two of the teams that have been considered the major contenders all year. So excited to see them play tomorrow, but before we get to that, we do have the matchup for today.
Yeah, we do. I think yesterday was a good showing from both Western and Maryville, beating very high-level opponents, right? You start in round of 32, you go to round 16. We're getting opponents that are really good, but this was the point where they finally got to overcome demons. Maryville overcame the team that beat them in finals last year, and of course, the USC got to overcome in a really big situation over Western as well to really yield the fact that they deserve to be semifinals.
I personally was getting very nostalgic listening to the cast last night. We got Odd Orange popping off on the show, but Dean, you were play-by-play casting. It's taking me back to the old times when you were solo casting Maryville games. I'm sure that felt great.
Yeah, you know what feels even better is not to get any more of those 13-minute games that I saw Maryville do. So I'm glad we got some fun ones as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the top 8 bracket real quick, because first up today, it is going to be the upset kings, Converse University, taking on the iconic club team, Michigan State. That series will be followed up by the class of seniors versus freshman showdown when we have Bay State College going up against UCI Esports. Before we dig too deep into our matches for today, though, let's talk a bit about this absolutely phenomenal semifinals that we're about to have.
Definitely. I think going into semifinals, these are going to be the cream of the crop teams. Obviously, we do see UST and Maryville. We've been talking to these teams throughout the weekend, and neither of them are really scared about each other. The funniest thing I thought from yesterday was when Maryville beat Winthrop, they did say that Winthrop was the second best team in this tournament, and they did not think that they were going to lose a single game. And then afterwards, after all the games, I talked to Justin, which is UST's director, and he said, yeah, that was all for show. They should be scared of us. We beat them all the time. So both teams are going really, feeling very, very confident going into that. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I think Maryville has a little bit of a short memory because back at HuFest, they got beat in the semifinals. And they're definitely not going to happen again, but we get a rematch from that one. Back and then, it was kind of destined that we would get to see these two eventually face off in another best of 5, and it's going to be a good one.
And so with that, though, speaking of some other good ones, let's dive in today with Michigan State, our iconic team, because you know what? Let's start off with you first, Calmer. I don't want to divert a bit towards the other side because I know what I'm going to hear already.
Yeah, definitely. Michigan State, year over year, we talk a lot about how there are some varsity programs, there are some just club teams where it's just, regular students, just friends playing the game. And Michigan State is one where they are one of the best club teams that we see year after year. They keep the same core around all the time. RBM has been playing there for, I think, 4 years now. I believe this is his last year now at Michigan State. Argentum has been there for, I believe, 3 years now. Year over year, these guys constantly show up. They haven't been able to really hammer it home and make a very high finish yet, but this might be the year that it changes.
Possibly so.
Fun fact, I personally am from Lansing, which is where Michigan State University is.
No.
So you could say I'm a bit of a fan of the Spartans here. I'm really looking forward to watching them play up on that stage as well. You already touched on it. RBM, he's been a staple of this program and others as well in a proving ground space. I mean, he took upset victories over academy teams just last year on Zeus Gaming. So this is going to be a really big team to watch for sure.
I mean, another team to watch will be their opponents, that being Converse, considering the impressive run they actually had going out throughout this entire year, where they've dropped 1 game, which on its own is absolutely nuts. But we'll have to see and understand if they drop any more games, because on because against this MSU roster, I feel like, it's not just the overall RBM show, right? We do also got a fair amount of gamers who I know are looking to show up and show out today.
Yeah, definitely. Converse top down is actually very interesting. First things first, you're going to always look at Scary Jerry. This guy is absolutely cracked. He's done insanely well. We'll pull up the stats for him later. But top down, like, this team is very, very interesting. They're top in their mid, our brothers, obviously, but their top laner specifically was the one that really impressed me in round of 32 and 16 and beating out some other really solid opponents.
Yeah, the fact that they've gone basically undefeated since that bout against Northern Georgia, who beat them back in the Peach Belt, it was really astonishing. Of course, their opponents, we got MSU, we get to see them on the screen right now. There's a tall task ahead of Converse because they've got very, very star-studded players in a number of positions. You want to talk about just RBM, but Lance is really good. He's been there for a couple of years as a backup. Sunlight, what is he, 1300 LP Garen main at the top lane. That's incredible to have to consider. And Argentum has not only spent time as like 1,000 LP support, but he's also been a coach on a number of really talented rosters. Having a coach in game is a valuable experience.
Did you see RBM on that screen just now? It's a real-life RBM vlog. We're getting to see it live in person.
We don't have to go through Twitter anymore. It's so exciting.
Man, I can't wait to be part of RBM vlog one day because, I'll have to hold off on that for now. My dreams won't come true just yet because on the other end is the Converse lineup. Now, we're talking a lot about how fearsome they can be. And not to be fair, Converse is playing from a remote facility as well, but they've got a lot more than that in terms of just maybe it's advantages or not. They've got camaraderie. They've got literal blood running through them in terms of the relationships they have, especially the two brothers who've gave us some insight on what it's like to play with each other on the same team.
Playing with my younger brother definitely has, its benefits and its drawbacks. Obviously we've known each other for, his whole life. So that's a huge benefit, the communication and the trust and that sort of thing that's already there. But the drawback is, the rest of the team having to kind of get used to the siblings, and sometimes it doesn't always go smoothly because people may think, okay, well, if we don't agree on this thing, we're always going to take each other's sides, when that's just not really the case. We grew up with each other, and so we have the same outlook on things. He learned the game from watching me, so he kind of just copied my play style, and we ended up just learning the same way of the game. So it's got its benefits, it's got its downsides, but I think for the most part, it makes the game a little bit easier because there's that one person that you just don't have to worry about. That they're going to come through and that they're going to do their best.
And I gotta say, when I play League of Legends, I gotta worry about every single person, which is why I play top. But it's a good thing that, the bot lane matchup themselves is also something that I know they don't have to worry about, Smax.
Yeah, this bottom lane duo is very scary, as it turns out here, as we get Scary Jerry up on the screen. And we know from talking to these guys as well, they are also very aware that Scary Jerry is a big carry on the team, and that is why they have so much teamwork around him. I've been really impressed by the jungle and support duo lifting up Scary Jerry and playing those tank front lines to make sure that he gets stats like these.
And on the opposite side, obviously, like MSU's bot laner, I think is a little bit more downplayed of a member on MSU when you've got star-studded players in a number of different roles. Somebody usually has to take a little bit more of a backseat. I think Zethel kind of stands up to that. Kevin, known by his friends, only having met a lot of the members on MSU at this event, famously Sunlight, of course, he kind of lives to that role where Argentum is able to be alongside him in the lane to help him out, and he takes a very weak side approach to the game into somebody like Scary Jerry to let his map run one round.
And Argentum as well, being the coach at the bottom, being able to help the team lead them to victory. But speaking of which, we're almost ready to get into the game, so I'll have to know who you think is going to take this victory. Colbert first.
I am wearing Michigan State colors. I got a lot of friends on Michigan State, unfortunately. I think this is going 3 games. I think Converse takes a 2-1.
Rebel?
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat where I do think it's going to go 3 games. I think this is going to be the most exciting gameplay we get in the quarterfinals, but I'm predicting an MSU 3-2-1.
I wonder what the Michigan boy himself has to say.
Yeah, guys, we got to put on our thinking caps for this one. I got one right here.
Thinking cap, you say?
Here we go. Yeah. I see no way that Michigan State University does not take this one in a 2-0. Not even going to be close. The boys from Lansing, go green, go white. We got this.
Unbiased analyst, that's by the way.
Yeah. Not biased at all. Got a Canadian Michigan State.
Converse 2-1. That's the word on casters being Banshee time at Arc Battery. Let's see it, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Is someone going to tell Ravish that he doesn't have to do predictions as a host? Does he know that?
He just wants to tag in. He wants to be part of the family, part of the squad.
Okay.
It makes him feel better.
I respect it. And I'm excited for what's to come. These are some... It's called spicy.
Yes, of course. This is another game, ladies and gentlemen, where I get to say we have some Ivern Rengar players in the crowd. So should be a lot of fun. But yeah, especially between these two teams, I talked about it on the desk. You've got a club team over in MSU, and you've got Converse in their first year as a program, making it to top 8, the Cinderella run so far.
Yeah, but so far so good. We'll see just how stiff their opposition is, though, as we are kicking off into draft. Renekton, get him out of there. First ban there from Michigan State.
Interesting. So I don't know if they were necessarily talking about it on the desk with the boys, but Michigan State got a lot of gamers that have some fun picks, right? Not only the Ivern Rengar, but Sunlight, the Garen player. He's been like super impactful on that. And so Converse, you got a first easy 2 bans. It's Garen, it's Yuumi.
Yep. Definitely get those ones out of there. Jinx, a bit more of a, an in-meta champion, let's say, especially again, as a reminder, we'll say this a lot today. We're on 12-9.
Yes,
With
we
no
are on
Talia,
12-9.
No Olaf, and no...
And Swain.
I always forget Swain.
There you go. It's okay. So did Riot. So we've got those 2 gone. And 12-9, importantly, we saw a lot of, in terms of the bans yesterday for CLoL, it was some Vayne. We still saw some Kog'Maw especially, but Jinx was missing for the most part. So I already kind of gone here for Michigan's sake, trying to stay on focus with this patch.
Ooh, I love this ban from Converse. Wukong. Gonna join Karthus there, and of course Lucian, another very powerful champion. That does leave some champions open. Michigan State saying, we don't want to lose any more 80 carries. MF right away.
Yeah, Zethal's made his name so far in this tournament on Misfortune. It has been that huge bullet time that he's basically kind of saved this team. Also taking it away from Scary Jerry, who again is another Misfortune player throughout this tournament. This champion has been really impressive for all of them. So more team fighting 80 carries is what I want to see from the both of them.
Yep, we'll see how Converse want to line up here in their first 2 picks. Looks like the first order of business is Volibear. Slide into the jungle there.
Yeah, it could be in the jungle. Panther has also been kind of shown to play a little bit of those bruisers, so maybe we have that, and kind of saving for some interesting flexible picks there. But definitely for Coach Jad, he's been kind of rocking this champion. Doesn't necessarily go for a lot of ganks, so I want to see how they're going to operate in the early game.
Nautilus also been pretty popular in general, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see that one there. For Roxin, indeed, picks it up nice and early, doesn't give too much away. Ari is open, I guess, as a hover here for MSU.
So,
is a power pick we haven't seen all that much of this weekend.
Yeah, Julian, there is a problem here.
Okay, what's the problem?
So you know we were talking about the bans here?
Yeah.
So we got Garen.
Love that.
Where's the cat? Where's Yuumi? And they got MF. Strong pair there.
There is no Yuumi ban.
And maybe I was wondering what we're going to get from the jungle, because RBM plays a ton of different champions. We've seen Gwen in his top 16 performance up against Harrisburg in that massive game too, where they come back down from 10,000 gold. And it's a flex, right? RBM can play it, Sunlight can play it. They're going through a ton of different kind of phases, but I think the Yuumi may be a little more suspect than we think, just because there is a Nautilus and makes it a lot easier for them to just go straight on to Misfortune.
Yeah, gonna be Sejuani for RBM. Sejuani Gwen's pretty filthy for everyone playing at home.
I want to hold off on saying necessarily it's for RBM.
Oh.
He has played Gwen. That's why I'm saying they have Gwen.
Yes.
They could still run Sejuani top. It would be kind of like a kickback to some amateur boys. Alorum specifically has definitely been playing a little bit over at Improving Grounds. And this is what I wanted to see, like what 80 carry was going to be the pick for Scary Jerry. Were they going to try and wait until later on in the draft to kind of secure him a stronger matchup, see what the rest of Michigan State were going to be running, but instead picking up the Kaisa Nautilus, a pretty old bot lane pair.
Yeah, see how they run into MF plus whatever the matchup is going to be. But again, Gwen really strong on this patch, so if you're a team that can flex that champion, I think Gwen's flexibility is often underutilized, actually.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say, it did get a couple of hits, right, just because of how powerful it was, but with the jungle just being dominated by 80 junglers, having that flexibility to maybe have something put it in the jungle definitely helps out with your team. So coming into the second phase of the draft, we do have Syndra getting banned. When we look at Lance, the mid laner for Michigan State, he is necessarily a control mage player, but he does have that pocket, some enchanters in there.
All right, Syndra bans. We'll see what else MSU have lined up here. There is a bit of a mismatch as far as bottom lanes go, but looks like the solo lanes are going to continue to be the target here. Fiora banned away from Panther, definitely a specialist on that one.
Oh, and I love it. You could see it on your screens there. It's Argentum Sky. He's also kind of like a coach analyst, someone that's helping out the team. So he just has the actual draft paper in front of him, and he's writing it down. You saw it there a little bit. He's just like helping out Incon alongside him. I love that. That's one of the things we were talking about is just Argentum Sky. He is willing to kind of micro the rest of his team. He's just there to kind of play them like an RTS. These are all my units, and we're going to move them together to kind of take the base.
Very much the brains of the operation. Not quite a decade it has been, but definitely channeling some Lemon Nation energy there from the support position. Ivan, as a result, that is not a troll ban. That is a very real ban.
Yes. Against Lance, they need it. Lance has already shown that they can try to win with this. The laning phase was what I was kind of questioning, and especially now taking away Victor, kind of going to have to dig deep. Are we going to see another Corki like we saw this weekend so far, or maybe kind of switch it up, go for another control mage, like an Orianna?
Again, insulated a little bit with the Ahri ban, but can't ban them all. Radar going to go ahead, happily snap up Victor there in 4th, and now we have to complete this bottom lane. I imagine they're willing to get a bit scrappy, but there's, again, a lot of different picks that MSU are willing to play.
Oh, there we go. Does Akash lock it in for the boys? Is Lethal going to pick up Darius? Okay. We get the brothers in top lane. Not necessarily the Garen, but it's going to be Darius instead. I was wondering where they're going to get their physical damage from, because so far they are very magic damage heavy.
Yep. Yeah, so Dwayne does a decent amount of magic damage. Gwen does obviously pretty much all magic damage, so we'll see how MSU want to finish off this draft. By the looks of things, they need a support. There's something like Seraphim would fit, but Leona definitely makes sense there as well.
All right, wanting to do a little bit more scrapping obviously gives them a lot of team fight potential with that ultimate, so going a bit into melee, I wonder what the rune choice is going to be, just because I think for Argentum Sky, something like a Glacial Augment is going to rock really heavy in this game, because you're going to be able to slow down someone like Kaisa, and obviously that also applies to all the other melee members here on Converse.
Hey, it's carrying the top side there for Panther.
Okay.
Trinity is sliding on in.
Nice, giving Panther a little bit more of a skill matchup. This is going to be hard in the early game, but as it keeps going on, giving Panther that's going to work in the side lane, I think is really, really good. Panther has so far shown to really be that expert side lane player. When we're talking about what we've seen throughout CLoL, it has been the Jax, the Fiora for him. So I like this. I think it's going to be tough for Converse in the early game just because of the matchup that they've prepared for themselves. Is this actually what I think it is?
I don't know. We'll have to...
We have 5 seconds before they swap. Okay.
All right. It is going jungle for RBM. Sejuani, by the way, did find herself into a solo lane.
Okay, well, it's not necessarily an enchanter, but Michigan State have just now blinded Sejuani mid lane versus Victor.
Nice.
I'll be 100% honest. Even though I'm the color on this one, my matchup knowledge on this is a little sparse. I'm going to assume that it's... Sejuani's typically pretty immovable as a laning partner, and so keeping Victor locked in lane is nice. Also, you have some kill threat there if you have your jungler, just because you are melee with Gwen, stacks up some of that permafrost.
Yeah, it's, back in the day, we had earlier Sejuani, but Sejuani was ganking the lane, That
was the old Sejuani. That was the one where she did like the flail thing around the whole AoE. I love that version.
Good times. Good times indeed. Well, MSU, we were promised some spice in the draft. They have delivered. This is on the kind of lower Scovilles, I would say.
I think this is higher Scovilles. How many times do you get a Sejuani mid lane in a competitive game?
That's true.
This is the first.
Been a while, that's for sure. MSU and Converse are going to take to the Rift for their first bout. Still in quarterfinals, still on 12-9, still best of 3. One today, another one today after this one. And then moving to best of 5 following tomorrow. 8 teams left. I guess only 6 now, actually. Say goodbye to 2 yesterday.
And we're going to say goodbye to 2 more today. A lot of teams have obviously been playing. We've got a healthy mix, as we've been talking about throughout the weekend so far, of club teams, varsity programs. We'll see one of those later on in UCI, but MSU now gonna be pretty excited. You can already see them. I'm honestly just like really interested to see how Sejuani mid works. This is just like a proof of concept for everybody at home.
Yeah, Lance also has the TP on the team, the only one with it. So Sunlight definitely wanting double combat summoners. I mean, Trend also doing the same thing for these kinds of champions where being in range is so important. Ghost is definitely an offensive and defensive summoner for these kinds of champions. But again, Lance, not your typical supportive style mid, not Ivan, right? Which is very obviously kind of an enchanter, but Sejuani with this top side will do similar things.
Yeah, and I if I'm correct on the interaction with her W, it hits the entire mini wave and actually groups them all up.
Yes,
So
that's correct.
maybe, you know, like the wave push is comparable to someone like the Victor early on. I do have a couple of questions, as we'll see in a few minutes. Typically with a Volibear, what we like to see is level 3, one of the strongest level 2, level 3 ganks that you have in the game. A ton of damage there. But you look at his lanes, unless he's going bot lane, I think it's a little bit questionable. Victor doesn't provide a lot of damage there, and oh my god,
Going
Rox.
straight around onto Zito, going for the 1v1 at level 1. Zito flashing out of there, but Scary Jerry in trouble. Gentum Sky has the flash. Potions there, stun and it wasn't enough. Didn't have any more cooldowns left, just had the Q. Now going to get rerouted there by the Nautilus, looking at Gentum Sky in trouble as the Plasma procs. And everyone's fine. It's fine at
It's
2
okay.
minutes.
It's RBM level 2 Gwen, boys. Let's see it. Does he pop the ghost?
Ooh,
Yeah, they're trapped. They're
it
done
was
for.
so good, but Leona too close.
What?
And that is a little bit of a mistiming. RBM going to chase down one, force the flash. Now they can go back in onto Scary Jerry. RBM over the alcove. Here we go. Zito, no chance. Does get the kill.
1 for 1. Both AD carries are going to get this in this wave. It's a little bit of a dangerous spot for Converse, but that's the exact kind of advantage you get when you're in Fog of War. If you're ever playing bot lane and you want to try and cheese a level 1, that bush is awesome to do that. It gives you priority over the lane if you want to go for it, but instead they just try and trade, and now there's no summoner spells, which I think still helps out Converse as we go on.
Yeah, going to be tough to survive any future all-ins. Here for Kaiser Nautilus, so see if RBM does want to revisit. As you mentioned, Volley, usually the ganking jungler in these kinds of comps, but RBM with a very quick trip down the bottom side makes the best of it there.
Yeah, that's going to be a small window, right, where Jad, he doesn't really have much to do. He could go mid lane, but it's Sejuani, and they do have him on vision, so Lance should be able to play safe enough. They're trying to crash this wave. Can they make this dive happen? Because if they miss out on all this golden experience, Zito and Argentum are not going to have a fun time playing this game.
Good ward there from Argentum. Brains on the player, definitely in place, but Jad now trying to pull the wave. They just have to clear it, and yeah, they'll be fine.
Okay. They wanted to try and see if they could do something.
Argentum!
What?
A little too much! No, Leona doesn't move you back in, and Scary Jerry gets revenge.
Oh, that's one of the times that you're playing support, you're like, I really wish that you didn't land on that one.
Yeah.
They're going to pull it out. Zethal, you cannot step up on this wave.
Nope.
You're going to have flash. You're going to be missing out on about 5 of those, and they're going to get a lot of turret damage. Let's see what kind of damage RBM can do, as he's able to either go for a gank or go for some camps. Seems like instead, Panther's going to blow Ghost, and look at this wave. Like, it is so difficult for Panther to do this, especially since he knows this Gwen is available.
Yeah, Sunlight to do that had to tank a lot of damage from his minions, but gonna trim it appropriately, should be all right. Panther getting greedy, but will not be punished right now. And now mid lane, Lance getting onto Radar. The damage is massive, actually, from the Sejuani all-in.
Look at this. I mean, Victor early game, that damage is nothing.
Nope.
He's sitting there. He's got 29 Victor bucks in his back pocket. He doesn't have any kind of evolves so early on.
Oh, RBM, just get in there.
Jad's
Let's
dead.
go. It's easy. There's the stun.
Okay.
2 snips happen. Jad there, knocked up and knocked around. Flash is good. RBM can't follow.
Okay, but their bot lanes are moving. Both of them are here.
Get stunned. Lance flashes in. But now Argentum Sky back over. Maybe they can win this 4v2 temporarily. Rock's trying to get out of there. Coach Jad rotating back around. But the stun is good. The kill is there, and they donate it to Zethal.
You wanted gaming, Pastry. Well, here you go. Jad goes for kind of an early gank there, but with RBM, Lance has been doing a fantastic job on the Sejuani. He's constantly pushing Radar around in the lane, and like we talked about, when you have the melee with your jungler there in the Gwen, you stack up permafrost instantly. Jad has to blow fast, and while their bot lane tries to move up, Zethal and Argentum are coming from a reset. So awesome job so far from MSU early on.
I'm now a believer in Sejuani mid.
Yeah.
It didn't take much. 5 minutes through it. Lance looking good there. And again, alongside RBM, comboing very nicely. Will also get better as the game goes on. But for now, we'll see how teams want to kind of consolidate the back and forth. We've got a very equal early game, all things considered. It is a very mild gold lead for MSU. But Infernal Dragon was a spicy one to grab early on, so we'll see if teams want to move over there in the next few minutes.
Exactly. For me, I think it's going to be what does level 6 look like for a lot of lanes. Obviously, we're watching top lane right now, and as soon as Sunlight hits 6, there's a pretty good lethal range that he can find there. And bot lane as well, you're talking about like Leona Misfortune. That's just a super easy combo to land.
So far so good here for Sunlight. Getting a go-win, had the potential with the first 6, but Scary Jerry just 1v2ing the enemy bot lane. Has Jad behind as well, so there is dive potential, even though Volley's not 6.
Yeah.
But they'll take the trade and walk away.
Exactly. And I think the important part here for Converse is they actually just wanted to force a recall for MSU's bot lane so they can start up this dragon. Another breakpoint that we were talking about, level 6 here for Volibear, super important, because then he can disable the turrets if you go for really easy tower dives. So early Drake is nice. It gives them a little bit of a, a potential win condition to play on for as the game goes. But I'm just excited to see what happens once we get to this Rift Herald, because I really do think if MSU play their cards right, you have a fun team fight against Converse between the two.
Yeah, Gwen could really start to go off there with how strong Lance is looking. And even though, Zethal a little bit behind Scary Jerry and Gold, does have 2 kills as well. So pretty powerful still in the MF, especially once she gets 6. So plenty of potential at the 8-minute mark. Not there just yet, but we're vibing for now.
I'm just looking at Scary Jerry, and I didn't even notice how bad the CS lead right now is. Zethal's getting really pressured. Thank you for showing the gold. It's not all that much, right? Because like you were saying, it's all built on the 2 kills that he has.
Yeah.
So it is helping mitigate some of that. I think at first glance, Converse might be feeling a little bit better, but yeah, it's a little bit suspect. I'm worried here. They're going to need to make a really good dive happen to try and crash this wave and get their bot lane out.
Sejuani just keeps going in.
It's so good!
And winning trade.
And he's gonna go Fimbulwinter first too, right? An immovable object for Victor to deal with.
Oh, missed that W. Might have had something there. Jad, though, looking for the dive.
Here
Top
we
side.
go.
The Ghost is going to give him the runaround. Just keep on zooming. Just keep going. Mid lane, an easy dive there. RBM picks up 1. And I am Sunlight surviving. He's done. He ran all the way back.
He just ran all the way around. Oh, that's so perfect. I don't know if anybody can hear it, but you have the MSU boys popping off constantly. And Jad, he's trying to make these ganks happen, but they do the loop-de-doo and they go all the way around the turn, and he's like, okay, cool, I'm back in my safety zone. RBM's gonna be able to start up this Rift Herald here, especially now that Sunlight's able to push out his lane. And finding that kill onto Radar just opens up the map for Michigan.
Yep, really nice there to get this Herald. Had plenty of control in the top side with that gank, and of course Sunlight buying all that time. That's a Steel Cap's diff as far as movement speed's concerned.
Yeah, it's the Ghost definitely helped there as well. Wow, that landed rocks.
Okay, Nautilus is a champion. Scary Jerry in trouble though, but now pops the KI. Oh! Such a nice snipe, finds the shutdown. And now 2v2, but yeah, I don't think you want to play for that one.
I just love it that Sunlight is just gank repellent at this point.
Yeah.
They try to run towards them, and oh, wait a minute. Can't really do that. Now, Lance does have a kill threat here. This is super dangerous. Jad needs to come and help Radar with this lane. Otherwise, Lance can just find a kill.
Yeah, no ulti. Used it already, I think, in an earlier trade. So, little tougher, but certainly has some burst damage. Always one of the things that's fun and surprising about Sejuani. And of course, Lance is going full tank, right? This isn't anything different. No full AP or anything. Still going to be very effective farming here through the mid lane.
Part of me wishes that this was a full AP
same.
Sejuani, but picking up the Bomby Cinder means that she's going to have as easy wave clear as Victor for the time being until he finishes his first item. Dragon coming up in 2 minutes, I think for Converse is going to be really important as you see how far ahead Scary Jerry is at this point. Play around your bot lane, put them in a powerful enough position to win you objectives.
This is not being blue buff. I think it is, yeah.
Does Sejuani need it? No, sir.
Yeah, I guess
no, sir.
I'll be up for this is the best game ever.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing Gwen, and the important part, does Panther get this? Does he heal? Okay.
It also timed out.
Yeah, there we go. So RBM, he's playing Gwen, and the important part is you just farm super heavily. You want to get as much gold, as much experience as you can as possible. Rox goes in.
Straight on in. There is the flash, but the follow's good damage almost
Turns
there.
out disabled.
And that is not enough.
Oh, man. Argentum Sky, the Aftershock, the W as well. Can MSU do go on the opposite side?
Free. Panther can't be sitting there. Does flash out to safety. Might be all right. RBM takes a lot of turret shots, but Panther is going to live.
Okay, but this is now on opposite sides. Panther is facing the Wrath. No, man! No!
Let's go! No, come on, man! Come on!
Wait! Here it comes!
Yeah! All right, but no problem. Zethal getting to 2v1, but 2 shots taken by Rox. Still Scary Jerry has no angle. Eats the next turret shot that's hot as hell. And now topside Sunlight with the max repel is going to kick them away.
Oh man, everything is just going good for MSU except for bot lane. You close your eyes. This is exactly what I think Michigan State would have wanted. You saw what they were trying to do earlier with Zethel's Misfortune ult. Push out the wave. I don't want to interact with Converse anymore. I want this wave under their turret so I can be safe, and I don't have to worry about them trying to fight me. But Rox is just finding hook after hook onto this Misfortune.
Definitely Scary Jerry going to be the one to watch for Converse as we move towards that mid-game, that 15-minute mark or so. I will say, this is a pretty swift Rift Maker. And it's Jungle Gwen.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the things I always notice with Gwen is like, why does it take you so long to get your insanely expensive mythic item?
Yeah, that's just kind of the case with a lot of AP champions.
Yeah.
Like, there are some cheaper mythics, but Riftmaker is also just a mythic that does take a while to actually go through. You need damage.
Okay.
What was that apprehend?
That was an apprehend. Okay, Sunlight. I see you. I see those Darius mechanics.
Okay.
That Darius knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, that's max rage apprehend, and that's massive for
That looks
MSU. That's your
illegal.
engage, that's your vision, that's your support gone. A lot of space that could have been bought for someone like Scary Jerry is just not available anymore. So they can't play for that dragon that we were talking about. And now Scary Jerry, he's in mid lane. Maybe he's going to try and find some farm elsewhere, but really they can't do much. MSU get another objective.
Side lane Sejuani with a mountain dragon, huh?
Oh no.
Huh?
Well, the Cloud Winds quicken, so we don't have to worry about a Hextech Drake or Hextech Soul. Sejuani. That doesn't sound fun. Bonus attack speed for her is always a good time.
Well, for someone, I mean, this is why I pointed it out, because, like, I don't know what Panther can do. I mean, right now, looking good, actually. I take it all back. Not quite enough armor as
Yeah.
to pop the ulti.
Unfortunately, Sejuani does not have the faculties to deal with a Tryndamere. She is tanky. She's kind of like an Ornn in that way, where she can be a kind of a brick wall. But the minute you have a much longer lane, because this turret is gone, Panther just runs you down.
Yeah. Pops Ghost hits you nice and easy there. Again, we'll see how Lance can go, because he is the only TP on the team. So if they want to make quick cross maps, they're going to have to make use of the Sejuani solo laner. Read that one right.
Lance, activate the 6th vision. Please do not walk under this turret. You have to know there's no one else on the map right now.
I'm
and here we
Sejuani.
go.
What can go wrong? Everything is the answer to your question, and that is more than enough damage, because Jad's going to collect the last hit.
Yeah, that's just a matter of looking at your mini-map. Where is everybody? Okay, we don't see anybody top lane. We definitely don't see anybody mid lane, and the turret's about to get hit. Where are they? The only place they could possibly be is either in your jungle somewhere or looking for that dive. So getting plates for their Victor and their Kaisa, that's a bingo card somewhere for them. MSU, it's unfortunate, right, that Lance is able to go down there. It does buy a little bit of time for Converse, but I think in the end, Converse are going to need a little bit more than that just to come back.
Yeah, it's not quite 1,000 gold up for MSU. Actually, that lead's been cut down a little. Converse brought some back, was 1,500 gold ahead for MSU, now under a K. Scary Jerry, though, still top on the charts as far as gold goes, and that is going to be the carry for Converse in this game. Just need to open up the map a little bit more, maybe in 3 minutes if they want to fight for this next dragon, maybe for the upcoming Herald.
Yeah, Herald's about a minute. They're looking for this engage. Rox, teleport.
Here we go. Beautiful CC chain. Rox just dead to the MF ultimate. Zettel in range there for Radar's ult as well. We'll get away from it as RBM is diving into the enemy team, and Sunlight finds an execution.
Okay, Scary Jerry was doing no damage in that fight, and while Zettel was kind of getting rocked by Radar, they were not able to find that kill. He's low, but it doesn't matter. They're going to grab the Rift Tail that's just spawning 2 minutes before the Dragon as well, and MSU are fully set up for this game now.
Yeah, I mean, look, Zettel had a decent ulti that got a kill and then didn't die. That's all you need from MF in that spot.
That's an 80 carry's dream right there. Just do not die and help get kills for the homies. That's literally all you need, especially when Zettel, as this Misfortune here, especially when you're going this Eclipse build, all of that is that early power, the serrated Dirk, the damage that you get from it, the shield, and he's been put down so early on in this game thanks to someone like Scary Jerry and Rox early game.
He talked about, Kaisa, gonna be tough for her to find footholds in these team fights. Yes, you can sometimes get to the backline if you find the appropriate ultimate, but trying to fight through Darius, Gwen, Sejuani sounds terrible.
Yeah, I was going to say for MSU, like a lot of the carry potential right now is on RBM, but he's a short-ranged Gwen, right? Like it's melee range, it's pseudo-range thanks to her E, but when you're looking at Kaisa, she's also not super long range, so if I'm going to take a bet on anybody who's going to win, I want a Gwen who's going to have a ton of items versus a ranged, squishier member like the Kaisa.
Yeah, has the support as well, right? Has the Sejuani to empower, has some dive buddies, has the MF ulti. over the top as well as Radar's going to go ahead, grab this tower. I think for Converse, it's definitely more about this trend, playing the 4-1. Even Sunlight in that last exchange, looking pretty good in the team fights as well, because with this kind of comp, I feel like once it's going well, it just keeps going well.
Exactly, and the longer fights go especially, right? Right after the Misfortune ultimate, you're going to have Sunlight who's stacking the Hemorrhage procs. You're going to have RBM with a fully stacked Riftmaker. The longer fights go, MSU are more than happy to take those. It's all about the burst coming out from Converse. That's why we see stuff like the Volibear, like the Victor. It's those first rotation of spells that are going to be so important.
All right, well, 55 seconds until the Cloud Dragon is up. Not sure either team is going to sprint on over there. We'll see though. Maybe team feels like go ahead and grabbing that, seeing if they can't get themselves to the soul, but it is not going to be a focal point of this game, I have to think. Sunlight catching the wave here in top side, and still eyes on RBM, who does have that second Herald in the back pocket.
Yeah, I think the important part for both teams that they're going to recognize is Scary Jared does not have Flash. If they're both timing this is going to be a pretty tricky fight, I think, for Converse to play. And so what I want to see from them is probably just play away from it. It's Dragon, it's a Cloud Drake for all of it, so just go either look for something mid lane or even try to punish Sunlight. Because of how long this lane is, you can put vision into their enemy jungle, and all of a sudden that Darius is under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, Panthers continuing to push in with impunity, knows that has the team on his strong side of the Rift. Radar, of course, gonna have to be a bit more careful, but does have the tower still. The last remaining outer is a bit of a safety net. Sunlight face checking down a level here onto Panther. Pops the Stridebreaker, runs away.
I think he wins this.
Spins around, misses the cube. It's not gonna be too bad. Panther still eating a bunch of damage from the dot.
They want to look for this. They can find rocks here.
There's the ulti, very nice. Pick off, and Nautilus ain't so tanky, especially with the augment. Easy money there for Lance.
Okay, I was wondering what MSU were going to do to punish, because they still have Riftmaker in their back or the Rift Herald in their back pocket. So if at any point they want to take this Dragon, drop the Rift Herald mid, bot, pick up some extra gold for yourself, and force Converse to answer. Rocks, a little bit of an unlucky position there. He's just too far up, trying to save, maybe look for something of a play with Panther.
All right, Lance TP should be back up in short order, so happy to catch the wave in top as his team grabs the Dragon. Clock's not even up until just now, so nice and easy there for MSU. Take the pick, run down, take the Dragon. Still eyes on this Herald. Want to see if RBM is able to drop it and kind of get something out of it. Right at this point, you basically have to get a tower for it to be worth it.
Yeah, it'll feel nice. It'd probably feel a little bit better to get something instead of nothing, right? Just the value trade. The experience was nice for him, obviously, but my big eyes now are going to be the Man and Moon, or like all the tier items are going to be finished here for MSU in the next coming minutes, right? Like Lance is about to finish Fimbulwinter stacking. Zethul is a little bit over halfway of getting the Mirror Mana, and once they finish their second items, MSU are online, and I mean, if already they're kind of ahead at this point, Converse has a lot of work to do. They've not really been pressuring, and it's kind of just been, we're throwing waves at each other, not able to do anything proactively.
Yeah. Thankfully, though, on the flip side for Converse, the lead's not that big, right? Less than 1,000 gold is very acceptable in League of Legends, especially now we're almost through 20 minutes of this game. But I do agree with you that MSU, by the eye test, have been a bit more proactive, setting things up. Again, the Herald dropped a little late, but it's okay. They'll get some charge down here onto the mid. And that's good enough. As ulti from Zethul, looking for the positioning a little bit dicey as a Jensen, who's going to get caught out. The rest of the team is going to collapse. The Victor ulti is very, very nice. And that's going to be 2, but RBM gets 1. Should go down here on the other side. There was RBM will finally be felled, and Converse flipped that gold lead.
MSU, I think, getting a little cheeky there. Great punish from Converse, right? All of that gold just immediately swung. That's 1K back in their favor from what MSU was having. And I like the thought of it, right? You have Zethul in Fog of War hitting you with a bullet time. That's just going to shred you in most cases. But we saw Coach Jad immediately put pressure onto Misfortune, and it means they can't get away with that play. So only the solo laners really kind of live during that fight. But Converse get, I think, a little bit of ease off of their backs. They're like, okay, we can take a breath. We are still winning fights. It doesn't feel like everything's kind of crumbling around us.
Yeah, we'll see how much damage Sunlight gets done to this outer tower. Panther also has just been permanently shoving this top lane, trying to keep getting CS and experience, and also take this tower, give his team a little bit of gold over and equalize on that front. I guess I'm curious what 30 minutes is going to look like at this point, because the teams have been playing, like, for all of the back and forth, they've been playing pretty slowly.
Yeah, and I think it kind of comes down to how you feel about certain matchups right now. For Tryndamere, he is only going to get more and more troublesome for MSU. Yes. The fact that he's going to continue to do more damage, he has a Kraken Slayer, he's getting more gold, he's been playing on a side lane almost this entire game. And you see right here, Sunlight is ahead, but the more and more, he already has a CS lead. It's the kills that's really giving Sunlight any kind of advantage that we see here. So it's dicey. I think that come down to it, like we're looking at team fights. That's been name of the game for collegiate League of Legends, right? It is who can team fight better and how do you set up for that, and not necessarily playing for side lanes.
I mean, as far as ease of execution go, definitely tip the hat to the Sejuani team. But it
Yes.
doesn't mean that Converse can't fight a 4v4 or 5v5 happily, especially when the game is nice and close in gold.
Ooh, I just kind of want to see another Sejuani solo kill. It won't happen.
Same.
It won't happen because the game is just going so long. Maybe if he finds Scary Jerry once he's finished his Fimbulwinter, that might happen. We may get a small treat there, but this Kai'Sa is getting into slightly untenable territory soon enough, right? Like he has a crit cloak, but he's going towards that Infinity Edge. And once that happens, like you thought the plasma damage was already crazy, he's gonna rip through Michigan State.
All right, well, what's the plan here for MSU? No Dragon yet for a minute 30. Baron obviously on the menu, but not an option you want to take too lightly. And still trying to knock down these last few out of towers as well. Map's pretty compressed. Still here through 22 minutes. The teams have been on equal footing for most of the game.
I think the problem that MSU are having right now is that, you know, you do have a Sejuani, so she's tanky. She's not going to kill anybody for the most part, unless you are really caught unawares. And so Victor at this point, he got out of the bad part of the game, the early game for someone like him. He's just going to be able to farm out waves. He presses a single button, that wave is gone. So you can't really pressure on side lanes. And again, Converse, they have the Tryndamere. He's someone who is always going to have the ability to kind of push and be very safe over there. So unless they find a fight, unless they look for something, MSU is using these neutral objectives like the Drake and the Baron to start team fights, to force Converse to come to them.
Anathemas is the second item choice for lane. Big hoggers.
Okay, so I wonder who that goes on. Does that go on to Scary Jerry? There is a little bit of magic damage, I think, spread out pretty evenly across Converse in Jad, Radar, and Scary Jerry alongside Rox. So the Mercury trades that we see there is pretty good. It doesn't seem like it's on Kai'Sa, so maybe it's on Radar, maybe it's on them. I like this cheeky play from Converse. They have a Kai'Sa who's super strong. Let's go for it.
Also, Panther just basically frontal ward. Beautiful ulti there for the MF.
Zethel's dead.
Don't think Bloodlight can survive. The answer is no, and Zettel now getting jumped on with no help to speak of. Flashes out to safety. As Argentin now going to be caught. Beautiful little play there for Converse. The bait and switch turning off the Baron. RBM going to try and stay alive, but Panther going to shut that down.
And now, Julian, I know some of the desk was kind of split on whether or not we were going to get a full three games. Oh my God, yes!
Do it again! Oh, no, it's fine.
Man,
it's
wait,
fine.
question mark. Oh, wait, Radar.
All right.
Okay, that's the Anathemas. Okay, so he has it on Victor. There we go, figured it out now, taking a little bit more CC, but Converse, they're going to be able to grab Baron. And that right there is what has carried Converse to this point in the top 8. It has been great team fighting and amazing positioning from someone like Scary Jerry. Really good punish, I think, from Coach Chad. Yet again, both him and Rox have done a fantastic job this game of marking Zettel, making sure this Misfortune can't play the game.
Yep, and that's what happened. Good looking ulti.
Yep.
Can't play the game.
Nope.
It's an unfortunate thing. When you rip the ulti from MF, it's really obvious where you are. Even if they can't see you.
There is a few places on Summoner's Rift where you can kind of like hide the bullet time in some of the terrain, and it's really hard to see. But yeah, once you kind of let that rip, like you said, your location's given away. You got big like sirens going off like, I am Misfortune and I am standing here. So Converse now kind of explode for the first time this game into a massive lead from either team.
Yep.
They're going to finally be able to break open this mid turret, and that has been what I think has been giving MSU a lot of comfort. Having that turret available to them means that now Gwen is going to start to lose out on camps as well.
All right, we're going to walk into their own jungle, try and kick them out. Going to have some respect here for Converse and not push too aggressively here. Radar on the, I guess, I say weak side, not really. His team's pushing
He
into the
almost just
enemy
solo
jungle
killed
still.
Lance
That's also
under his
true.
own turret as well. He is taking, it's going to take him a while because he went for Lichbane instead of something like the Void Staff. Argentum, you are really glad that you did not land. If that Leona E lands, you are in bad news land. It's not fun.
Have spotted Jad once again. Lance dancing around here as Victor's just trying to get some chip damage onto the turret here.
Ooh, wait, Julian, look at the pings right here. They're trying to look for something. Sunlight maybe goes for a pinch. RBM, he's popped the ghost.
Yeah, he's going for it here, running straight into the enemy team. Gwen, not
He's
that
dead.
immune. Brock's gonna go ahead, take that one out. Great ulti though.
Oh!
The MF, but the damage on the backside out of Panther. Absolutely disgusting as Radar's gonna arrive to help scoop up another, and Sunlight gonna have to run towards the safety of nowhere because the team is just going to run him down. The flash expended, ulti there for the volley, and an easy pick up there for Radar to top it all off.
He just killer instincts right into the back line. He's putting pressure onto Misfortune. Lance kind of just has to watch his team go down. And you can see it in the pictures for RBM.
Yeah.
He's got his hands like kind of messing with his hair. He's like getting a little anxious. MSU are in the tank now. They are super far behind. 7,500 gold. The Dragon going over to Converse, and they're just picking up kill after kill. Scary Jerry is putting pressure on him.
Yeah, Kais is a problem. Victor's a problem too, as it turns out. Void Staff now finished.
I mean, with the Void Staff alongside Scary Jerry, who instead of finishing the Infinity Edge, is actually going to be going for the LDR, means that now all of the tanky members, someone like Sunlight or Lance, they're paper mache to this guy. Alongside the passive for Kaisa, he rips through them. It also makes Baron infinitely easier if it comes to it later on. So Converse, they got a lot done. We were talking about whether some of the proactivity was going to be going there.
IBM just fighting because kind of has to. Now going to go back in onto Rocks, but
Radar.
Again, not a lot you can do. Radar, though, caught out of position too far forward as the enemy team collapses on, and RBM collects a bit of extra gold.
Saw the Victor ultimate kind of trailing over there, where they were going to go for it. Trying to look for a punish, trying to stop the recalls here. They want to try and get this turret. Lance is really the only one who can stay. Maybe Argentum can back him up, but on the other side of the map, Panther pressing away on this wave. MSU are going to get torn apart across the map. Converse continuing to push their lead.
It's really just the Trinzimir Classic. It's one of those things where, like, psychologically, like, surely they won't still be in the side. Surely they will leave.
That's the best part about Fog of War, right? Like, you don't know he's there, and all of a sudden he is. Bullet time.
They just never leave. As decent angle there for MSU, but no follow-up there. Lancer with the ulti, lets it rip, finds Jad. But Volibear still pretty tanky, shakes off the ulti, he barely misses. RBM out for blood, but not gonna find any.
Ooh, that was very dicey, I think, for Converse. They're kind of lucky that they're so far ahead that some of their champions can be a little bit tankier, and they got away from that. But if MSU find that, that's gold in their back pocket. RBM's going to probably at least get assist gold in that situation. And so pumping more of this. Again, MSU have come back from worse. They've come back from 10,000 gold in a game, too, where it is do or die at that point. They were already down a game in that series in round of 16. So they have come back from worse, but they need to put up a fight.
Oh, Panther again. Touch too aggressive. Ulti's going to keep him alive, but thankfully there's no future engagements because it's not going to have it.
Yeah, the fact that he doesn't go down, awesome, but I think in the end it wouldn't have had much of an impact. So just gold in their back pocket. Now, we've got 2.5 minutes before the Dragon, but I think for me, looking at Baron,
yep.
It's big. It's 1 minute out from here, and Converse immediately destroy that. They've got a Panther who is still level 17. He's going to have Ghost and Flash. If he sits in a side lane and they get this Baron, there is no way, I think, for MSU to actually properly fight them without being down numbers and having to face them 4v4 or even fewer than that.
Yeah, and obviously, as you said before, the Baron damage very significant at this point, so Converse going to rip through the objective very rapidly here. MSU having to be defensive here, kind of forced back to their last third of the map, right? You draw like a little line around where their tier 2 turrets would be.
Do you want me to draw the line?
Oh,
Am I drawing a line between the tier 2 turrets?
Yeah.
Okay.
Show
Here we
the
go.
little zone of control that MSU
Yeah,
have.
MSU, they get this.
Yeah.
They don't get to leave any of this area. You already see it here. They cannot actually walk into the jungle. There's no vision allowed for them. They have to walk blindly into Fog of War. Thankfully, they have some tanky champions. Sejuani's great at doing that.
Great little battle ward. Old Sejuani. The Sunlight, I mean, it looks silly because he's 2 levels down, but that's, again, Panther is just not left the side lane.
Yeah, that's all he's doing. Like, Sunlight is trying to stay here to try and match for him.
Well, this is good.
Radar, though.
Radar gonna get picked off here. Jensen gonna try and make it happen.
movement.
Scary Jerry, though, goes off in mid lane at 3v1, and Zito just gets popped out. Jensen does get the kill onto Radar, but Converse busting through mid here with 3. Gonna pop this inhibitor turret.
Is RBM backing? No, he had a super late recall there. I think he thought he was recalling, but it got canceled for some reason. So, I mean, they're going to lose this inhibitor. Maybe if they're able to redeploy all at the same time, they can try to punish this. I don't know if we have a replay of what just happened, but Zethal dying there opens up the game yet again for Converse to continue pushing their lead.
And Converse falling back to the Baron, not going to take a full reset just yet. Again, they very quickly take the objective. Even Panther's going to go ahead and finally leave the side lane. Actually, no, it doesn't even need to. Team's got the Baron without them, I think. It is going to be Lance. That's not a jungle Sejuani though, but RBM is in the area. 3v3, here we go. But now they turn and Scary Jerry just does too much damage. Unstoppable out of the Kai'Sa. And Scary Jerry getting low, but it's not going to be enough. Panther though ripping through as Jad takes out RBM, and Panther's just going for gold. Zethel is going to finally fall. Panther will die.
He's dead.
Sunlight desperately wants another kill, and Radar is low. That burn is gonna be enough.
He's dead.
Oh goodness, the dots. Barely. Radar stays alive, and Baron goes to Converse, right as we thought.
Radar, you know, Panther, he said, hey, look, Radar learned his playstyle from me, and he's like, well, look, I did better than you, brother. Big bro, I'm gonna not die. Go down, take the enemy top laner with him. And with that Baron, you have to think that this game is all but chalked for MSU. Converse have been doing a really good job, yet again, off the back of team fighting with Scary Jerry there. And I kind of want to highlight this just because throughout the tournament, Radar hasn't been having such a good tournament, but this game in particular up against Lance, I think is some of the strongest that we've seen so far.
Yeah, feeling good. Team's firing, almost 10,000 gold ahead. They're going to get themselves soul point. Not that they really need it at this point, but may as well take it, as we'll see how much they can get done with this second Baron buff for themselves. Like you said, Alk, MSU have found an entrance before into games that was very much closed down.
You know, probably people in chat are going to be like, wow, they keep thinking that MSU is going to come back. They have actually done it. So that's why we're just going to not go for it. I love that Radar's tweeting, are you wearing Converse? At Colliver on the desk. Wonderful.
No, not the tree.
No, not. I know for a fact as soon as Incon saw the tree ban, he's like, there we go. Put some respect on our name for that one.
Got more than one tree. They got Maokai as well.
Oh, that's true. Our gentleman has played a good old Maokai once before to get them here. So look at this. They're just waiting. I love this. This may look a little strange as MSU are waiting in fog to try and look for a play.
Ooh,
okay,
Flash. Started off. Jad, good stopwatch. But now the fight continues. MF Ulti's just doing a great job zoning them out of the way. They're only going one, but they need more. Panther is busy going, and Scary Jerry is popping off for it. Cleanses off the exhaust. There's Rocks with another great hook. Into stasis we go. Scary Jerry trying to make it happen as Radar finds another kill. And Panther just keeps them going. Radar's going up with a triple kill, and Converse win both fights and will take game one.
Oh, man, and look at this. Panther, the entire time, they were waiting to sync their waves across the map. Zethel, he's going to have to just stand here or go down and watch his team lose game one in gray screen. Converse from the Peach Belt are going to take game one versus MSU.
Still going out. Converse basically just training upsets to get here because this was a team that was not projected to be here in LA in top 8 of the college championships.
They're making the Cinderella run. It may not be a glass slipper, but the Converse fits all the same. Like, the fact that, again, Peach Belt against the North Conference for MSU, the strongest conference in CLoL history, playing up against Peach Belt. And these guys 18-1 in regular season. Again, people are going to downplay that and say, well, you play in a weaker region. But then coming in, beating Bethany, beating the only Pool A team in ASU to not make it into top 8. It's insane. It's only game one. We still have another 2 games potentially to play, but this is a super fun story to watch.
Yeah, we got 1 game and it's 151 champions that MSU could potentially pick from as Converse. I'm going to claim the first one in this series. Let's hand it over to the analyst test, see how they got it done.
Converse decided to play a little bit outside their comfort zone by being 10K gold up for the first time in a long time. Welcome back to the desk here, gentlemen. I gotta say that it was a fantastic game through and through, and I'm thoroughly impressed with what we saw.
I don't want to talk about it that much, honestly. MSU.
Why's that?
We had some cool champions picked. And I was like, oh yeah, they got 10K down. They win from here. No, not today. Not yet. Anyway, there's always game 2.
It's tragic, but you know, just if we are looking at the actual draft that is in front of us, I gotta say, look, man, I don't know what's going on here. I know I may be a bit out of touch of League of Legends, but this right here in front of me says Sejuani mid. Is I understand? Darius top. Am I playing this game? I don't know.
Is this your class draft?
I think that is.
All right. I think a better question: have you ever seen MSU before? Because this is like
this is normal.
This is if anything, this is standard. If not like boring for them.
We were Ivory mid and Maokai support our way into this match.
Yes. This is something I do want to talk about
What's
because this draft, I feel, is so well tailored to what we expected and what MSU clearly expected Converse to play. We know that Coach Jad likes to play this Volibear. They know that they like to go for a melee tank support for rocks. And they picked amazing champions into melees. They've got this Gwen, this Sejuani, this Darius, Leona even are very good into that style of champion. And you saw that reflected in a lot of those lanes. I mean, we got a Sejuani mid solo kill very early on into the game.
I mean, speaking of, so let's take a quick look back at that game just to be able to understand how it all went down from beginning to end. Because considering where it all started, I know we weren't expecting any of this.
I know that we wanted to talk about at the beginning of the game the influence that Jerry has. Immediately in the game, it was clear, I think, that Converse's strategy was to try to make it work. Jad was kind of hovering down there consistently. MSU builds this composition around team fighting, and in the same way that it happened against Harrisburg, they kind of lacked the ability to force that 5-on-5 the way you would want all your ultimates to come together, and slowly it got picked apart. What you're seeing now is actually the best opportunity they had to really fight with all 5 members at once, and it worked out from them. But from here on out, I mean, Kaizen was able to find 1v2 situations or 2v2 situations. They picked members out of MSU individually and never let them get all 5 pieces together for this one really big Thanos fight that they're looking for the entire time. So it was such a difficulty watching MSU kind of struggle to get their bearings.
Yeah, definitely. I think the R5 Tryndamere actually specifically was insane for this team. You look at that team, you say, we are not going to win a team fight. We need to pick champions that can side lane, and Tryndamere obviously is the best of that. Great performance from Pantheron in this game, and honestly, they started even winning the fights anyway. So overall, just a wonderful performance from Converse, and Michigan State's definitely going to need to make some adjustments going into game 2.
I think from here, he's no longer Scary Jerry, and he is now Terrifying Jerifying.
Yeah.
I think he's finally reached his final form, arriving here in Los Angeles and playing in this top 8. I mean, we heard from the casters on what it would mean for Converse to actually make it into the top 4. Like, the fact that they're already here is amazing. They got all these upsets to get here. Now they're 1 win away from making it the top 4.
And which is the most nuts parts, right? Because considering how this was a team that realistically nobody was actually really looking at, and now with team fights like this into a team like MSU who love team fighting from minute 1 till however long this game was, and it seemed as though that Converse decides that, you know what, fine, we'll take it right to y'all as well. But the biggest point has to be, going up against MSU now, we know they have a lot in their back pocket. So what do they need to improve on, if not just their very fun picks that they have, Colin?
I think stylistically, this game definitely went to what Michigan State wanted. I actually ran into Incon on the way out, and he did say that this is exactly what they wanted, and that he would be surprised if they ended up losing this game.
Yeah.
You lost this game. So you got to change something, because stylistically, this is exactly what I would expect from Michigan State to want. You want to fight. You want to enable RBM specifically. You know, you have Gwen with all the melees, with the Sejuani pairing, and the mid lane. It just worked really, really well, but they just did not execute it well. So what I really, really want to see from them is either a new wacky kind of draft that they're very much well known for, or just better execution overall.
I think it was like Converse allowed their lanes to really speak for themselves a lot of the time, and it kind of it allowed for RBM to scale up on the side of MSU, but they never got a chance to use him effectively. And so for game number 2, it'd be nice to see if MSU found a way to get him interacting either with his lanes or against the jungle matchup against Coach Jad.
You know what I think they were saying in that huddle? I think they were all just, you know, bunched up together like, guys, I think it's time for the union.
All right, 5 new champions.
You got
Yes. 5 new champions and pick Yumi.
Who hasn't been picked at the tournament?
Yumi went fully through that draft.
Yeah.
And that's something that we know Argentum likes to play, and something that we know enables RBM's Gwen and other champions that he likes to go for very well. So honestly, I was surprised they didn't go for it right there.
One thing I want to say before we get into game 2, it might seem kind of doom and gloom for Michigan State. I want to recall back to last round when they were playing against Harrisburg. They lost the first game very, very handedly. Game 2, they go down 10K gold. And they are here, and Harrisburg is not. Michigan State is a team that will claw back tooth and nail. It does not matter how far behind they are. So do not count them out in this game. I know I originally had Converse 2-1. I definitely do expect Michigan State to put up a fight in this game too.
And what we're looking at right now as well is that Converse is also very good on the comeback too. But the question will be, we'll have to see if the Kings of the North can answer back in game number 2 after this short break. We'll see you here in a bit.